Hi, everybody. It's time for Nature Adventures here on Star Nation's live stream shows on BeLive TV on Facebook. And I am your co-host, Minnie Kansman, today, along with hopefully my co-host, Neshi Locutz. We're working on getting her video up. I think her audio might be working. Are you still there, Neshi? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to. So there's a picture I have of Neshi. She talks. What's really funny about this is, if you were here for our last show, it was directly opposite of this, where it was my photo and you could only hear me and not see me. So here I am in the flesh, but not Neshi yet. But she's working on it behind the scenes. Yeah, let me know in the chat if you can hear Neshi talking. That'd be good because I am producing for the first time today, and there's lots of buttons and things to remember. And getting on Facebook and sharing right now is not something I feel like I can do. But today, I will introduce our show. It's called Winter Words of Wisdom, and sometimes the winter weather can be pretty cold and slushy and gray. I know in Wisconsin it can be that way, Neshi, and for me, coming from Michigan, definitely Colorado, cold, slushy. I have sun though, so it's a little different, but it's still winter, and here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that makes sometimes for a challenging season. And so we thought today, let's talk about bringing up our favorite poets and the words that they have of wisdom for winter, to get through winter, to look at winter perhaps in a different way, a different viewpoint, maybe a more positive viewpoint. So I'd like to start our first look at, and I guess I'm trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to just take you down, Neshi, for a second. I found this cute little joke. Neshi, you can't see it. It's two people sleeping in bed. Oh, you can. Okay, cool. Gravity seems stronger on cold mornings. Does anyone have that? Can anyone relate to that? I sure can. I like to wait till the sun's really out and it feels like it might not be 16 outside to walk Rosie on her morning walks. And Ann Keen is saying, hey, sister, she's in the chat room. I think if I click her words, I can get her on. Yay, I did it. My first producing is my sister saying, hey, hi. Yeah, let us know. Can you hear? Well, just to start out the show with a little bit realistics here. Oh, and then I'll just, okay. And can you hear Neshi? Go ahead and say something, Nesh. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to start out with our first poem. And this poem is written, someone's calling me and I'm not going to get it. It was written by an 18-year-old young woman from Africa or Australia. Let me get this right. And her name is Erin Hansen. But she goes just by the small lowercase e.h, Erin Hansen. And I think she is a really wonderful up-and-coming poet. She has a lot of her work on the internet right now. But this one, I'm going to give it a full All right. You need me on when you need me on here when I have got it. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I know you were panicking because you didn't think I could hear you. Okay. So here is Erin's poem about winter. I do not mean to scare you, but there's winter in my bones. And when life becomes too heavy, you can hear my glaciers groan. Sometimes I don't go out because my heart has been snowed in, and it doesn't take too much for avalanches to begin. But do not get me wrong, there's beauty in the endless white. The ice along my lashes helps reflect back all the light. And it's easy to find magic skating on the frozen lakes, or in sticking out your tongue to catch the softly falling flakes. The forest floor is freezing, and the trees are wearing coats, and I've seen the whistling wind wearing a scarf around its throat. So do not waste your worry on all my blizzards and my storms. I've got my own internal flame that always keeps me nice and warm. Yeah, she started writing when she was 11, she said. And yeah, and she's the one that coined the phrase, if you've probably seen it on the internet, what if I fall? Oh, my darling, but what if you fly? She's the one that wrote that. Yeah, made her pretty famous. Hmm. So I like her descriptives. I like how she's saying it's not easy. Her glaciers are groaning. For me, it's my joints get kind of stiffer. And my heart is snowed in. I love that part too. My heart is snowed in. Because don't you think this time of year, you just you want to slow down. You want to just snuggle in. You want to get a hot chocolate and a warm blanket and just stay inside and be warm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, they have that Scandinavian word for that. It's huggy. I looked it up. It looks like huggy, but it's supposed to be pronounced huji. But the Scandinavians have a word for that when you just it's about warm blankets and firelight and hot chocolate and not having any tension, like very peaceful, reading a book, lots of candles. They said this Scandinavians use more candles than any other country. In Denmark, highest use of candles is in Denmark. That's what I read. I went, wow, biggest sale of candles. Um, Yeah, and then you can have your blanket and your hot chocolate. Ah, cool, cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna put up one of your poems, Nishi. Just a minute, I gotta put this one down. Um, let's see. I had things in order and now they're not. There we go. Okay. It's called Winter by Oki Howe. Can you see it? Or do I need to read it? It's kind of tiny. Oh, sure. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Wow. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's so quiet. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Ooh. Oh my god. Uh-huh. Aw. Yeah. Mhm. Right. 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 And I've learned from forest therapy, from my nature and forest therapy walks, that we can do those in winter too. And it's all about bundling up. It's all about dressing for the weather in the layers. And, if you're warm, then your body's not complaining. And then you can pay attention to that quietness, that stillness. And so that's what it takes is good winter wear. I really think. Because if you're chattering, you're freezing, you want to get in the house. That's all you want to do. You don't want to spend time out there. So it's all about comfort. Yeah. Well, I have another one about, because I love the way she talked about the trees and snow, and I have another one coming up that talks a little bit more about that. And this is actually not a poem. I found out from Lewis Carroll. He is a famous poet, but this is just a quote from one of his writings, and I have always loved it. I use this in forest therapy sometimes when I do winter walks. I wonder if the snow loves the trees and the fields, that it kisses them so gently, and then it covers them up snug, with a white quilt. And perhaps it says, "Go to sleep, darlings, till the summer comes again." Isn't that sweet? It's just, it's perfect for it. Yeah. Yeah, we had a big snowstorm here right before Thanksgiving, 17 inches of snow in Colorado. That's how much we had in like a 24-hour period. And I went out and took pictures, and the pine trees were the most beautiful with that blanket, that white quilt on them. I had so much fun just taking photographs during my morning walk with Rosie, and the sun came out and it was all sparkly, and it was really pretty. But there were no sidewalks plowed or anything. It was like we were just plowing our own trails. Poor little dog, or trying to follow someone else's dog trails. But yeah, it was, mhm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. definitely. Oh, guess what? I have you.
You
I
do?
see you, Neshi. I'm getting excited.
Oh my gosh, how did that happen? I didn't touch anything.
I just scrolled over and there you were, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
What
Yay.
happened? It was magic.
Magic.
Honest, I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Is this okay with the 3 things in the screen?
There's other little panes, the windows through there. If you wanted to, don't do it really fast because you'll make somebody motion sick. But if you want to try one, leave it there for a little bit and try the next one. That'd be all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want the poem on the big over there, how do I do that? It has to be the order they're in, huh?
Well, there's another one. There's another setting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
not that one.
there's this one. Those are and then there's the one we had. It's probably the best.
That's probably the best one.
With the poem.
I'll just kind of try to get in the center.
It's so good to see you. Both of us on the screen together.
Yay! Just a second. I'm going to let the text know.
Okay.
In the broadcast.
I'm going to put this poem down, and I'm going to put the next one up. So I can put myself down, and you could talk about the poem if they wanted to see it bigger, correct? And they'll still be able to hear it.
What you can do is over the picture in the upper left-hand corner of the picture, you'll see if you hover over down in the lobby. Hover over it, and you're going to see like a little icon of a person. That's solo. Okay. So if you do that, it'll bring the picture solo, and then everybody can still hear us.
Oh, I forgot about that solo person. Yay! Now I'm remembering.
All right.
There's got to be a way to show the picture and just hear us. Okay.
I chose this poem because there again, it had about listening to the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's called A Snowman by Wallace Stevens. One must have a mind of winter to regard the frost in the boughs of the pine trees crusted with snow, and have been cold a long time to behold the junipers shagged with ice, the spruces rough in the distant glitter of the January sun, and not to think of any misery in the sound of the wind, in the sound of the few leaves, which is the sound of the land, full of the same wind that is blowing in the same bare place. For the listener who listens in the snow, and nothing himself beholds, nothing is not there, and the nothing that is. So really, we're listening to the in-between.
Yep. Between the drum beat sounds, right?
Yeah. You know, and again, you know, I think it was the description of the trees and the sound that really, that's why I chose this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this man, you can bring us both up, I think. And Wallace, there you go. Yep, just like that. That was good.
And Wallace hear and see us both, but she couldn't hear. Neshi didn't hear. She couldn't hear Neshi's poem when you read your poem before, but she heard this one. I think. Really? Yeah. Anyway, we're good now.
Okay. All right. So anyway, Wallace Stevens, he is a relatively little-known poet, and what was very interesting about him is that he was actually like an accountant, right? Actually, I think he was an attorney, right? And he didn't start writing. He wrote poetry all along, but he was never sharing it. He never shared it until he was like in his 50s, and he started sharing it. He actually became a, let's see, I have it right here. He had a degree from law school and from 1903. It says that Stevens was concerned with the transformative power of the imagination, composing poems on his way to and from the office in the evenings, He
Wow.
continued to spend his days behind the desk at his office and lead a very quiet, uneventful life. He's considered one of the major American poets of the century. He didn't receive widespread recognition until the publication of his first collection of poems, just a year before his death.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but one of the things that when I read about him, I thought, how many of us out there, um, I know lots of people who write poetry,
Hmm.
lots of them, and some of them are published and some of them aren't. But this man, he had a daytime job that you wouldn't think would be a poet's
Right.
daytime,
Right.
you know?
Wow.
And to
Wow.
write the way he did about the month of January and in the cold, that's one
Hmm.
of the reasons why I chose it, is because so many of us may have put aside our gift of writing poetry and not do anything with it, and yet he still did something with it. I thought that
Yeah.
was good. Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Take that down. Yes.
Yes, take that down. There you go.
Put this poem up and then do a solo on it.
Oh, I sent you. Did I send you the wrong one?
No, this is mine.
Oh, that's
This is
yours. Okay.
Mary Oliver's. No, you've got you. I'm saving that one for later.
Okay. So if you want to, yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yay! All right. This is now. I have written about this poet a lot in the Star Nations magazine. Mary Oliver. She is my favorite poet. And when I had the nature travel group here for Colorado, I gifted everyone a different book of hers. She has so many. And we would share poetry at night. Wasn't that fun,
That
Neshi?
was so much fun.
Because we would be doing nature and forest therapy walks during the day and be spending time in the beautiful mountain ranges and along the streams. And then at night, I'd have them get their books out and pick out one of their favorite poems, and we'd just read to each other. And I love that. I love that so much. But this is one of my favorite winter poems of hers. And it's really interesting. I think it should have been named Windbird, but I think she's uh, having you see Windbird with white eyes for a reason. So I'll read it. White Eyes by Mary Oliver. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees, where the windbird, with its white eyes, shoves and pushes among the branches like any of us. He wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds. From under his beating wings, as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below like stars, or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, my favorite part about that poem is you think she's talking about a bird, and then the bird turns into the wind, and then the wind turns into snow. It's so
shape shifting.
shape shifting. Yes, exactly what you were talking about in your last show, Neshi. I just love that. It makes me so it's so magical. Poetry can be so magical, so much fun.
Wow.
And Mary Oliver, she I've shared with her about her before, but she used to go walking with her dog every morning, rain or snow, sun or not, and she would write poems in her head while she was walking out in nature with her dog.
Mhm.
And she learned to hide pencils in trees in the woods because she said, I usually always have a scrap of paper in my pocket, but I wouldn't have something to write with. And she tried to hide pens, but they would freeze in the winter. So then she learned to do the little pen, like the little golf pencils, she said.
Yeah.
She would hide so that if she had a poem come on, she would be able to write something down and not have to keep, saying it over and over to herself till she got back
Right.
home. But I love that about her. And she's one of our most popular American poets at this time.
Mm-hmm.
If you look her up on Amazon, you will be amazed. And every book I have read of hers is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can go wrong with picking just one. Although there is one called Devotion that has a compilation of a lot of them, and I would highly suggest that one. I got that one this year.
Yeah.
And
because you get a smattering of all of her poems.
But it doesn't have all of them.
Right.
But unfortunately, Mary Oliver died last February, and it was really, really sad. She wasn't a real public person. We learned that with trying to find a photo of her to use in the magazine. Mm-hmm. And there were just a few copyrighted photos from some major magazines that had interviewed her, and Oprah being one of them.
Right.
But she did not like her photograph taken. And so, usually there's a smattering of famous people, and she did not want to be famous that way. But I want to just show this next poem behind this one, Neshi, because someone wrote a poem for Mary after she died.
Oh, okay.
One of her fans, and I wanted to show that. So
okay,
take this one down and do you have to put it up and then give it a solo? Is that how it works? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. It's called The Winter Day, and it's for Mary. And it's written by, I've got this here. Oh, the name's at the bottom of the paint app. I'm sorry. I can't see the name of the authors at the bottom, but The Winter Day. And this was written for Mary Oliver. I saw the geese today. They carried your voice across the field. Every call a salute, every breath a prayer. Your love lingers between their feathers. And in the rays of the setting sun, the grasshopper bows his head, knowing he has been seen. And as the day nears the end, even the sky is bleeding, and the early moon hides her face behind a misty veil. Earth is mourning, and countless hearts weigh heavy this night, as their wild and precious lives are lifted above a broken world and into the beauty of a winter day. Yeah.
Wow.
There's,
to me, that's true love.
Yeah. There's her name now, Nisa Havens. I can see it at the bottom of the poem. That is, and if you know some of Mary's poems, she's used some imagery from those of like wild geese and veiled moons and things. So but that was pretty cool tribute to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me. This is so fun driving here. I'm figuring this out.
For our audience, it's usually the other way around. Usually, I'm the one who's producing, but Minnie, you're doing a good job at it.
I'm doing it, and Ann Keat. I'm going to click her again and bring her on. My sister. She says, "Yay!" Thanks, Annie. Yay. Thanks. I practice clicking people's comments, and I love that. Okay, Neshi, your next one is one of my favorites.
I know. I saw this and I thought, how can we do this show without adding Robert in there? You can't do that. Robert Frost. And this particular poem, because almost everybody knows this poem, right? Or I've heard pieces of it, right? So if you want to give it a solo, we'll put it up there. And I paired it up with I thought, a decent picture.
I love how you did the backgrounds on your poems. They're great.
Yeah. So, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep.
Mm.
Ah, one of my favorite poems.
Hmm. I love it. I
Did
love it.
you did you know that Robert Frost won 4 Pulitzer Prizes
No, I
and a
didn't.
Congressional Medal of Honor too?
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
know, right?
Wow.
I didn't know that, and he was known as the American Bard.
Mm.
I know. When I was reading his bio, I was thinking, I didn't know that about him. And another little known fact, if you want to bring us up,
Hmm. Okay.
and another little known fact is, did you know that he read a poem at JFK's inauguration?
No.
I didn't know that either. You know how they do, how the
How
president,
was it? Did you look it
right? So it says that um, that Frost delivered a poem, said that the poem, quote, he has bequeathed his nation a body of imperishable verse from which Americans will forever gain joy and understanding. And he said he saw poetry as a means of saving power from itself. When power leads man towards arrogance, poetry reminds him of his limitations.
up?
When power narrows the areas of man's concern, poetry reminds him of the richness and diversity of his existence. When
Wow.
power corrupts, poetry cleanses.
Wow.
Wow. I had no idea that he was a part of the inauguration
Yeah.
of JFK.
Yeah. Wow. That would be interesting to look up that poem,
Yeah.
to see what he
Yeah.
said.
Would it be appropriate now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, there is a certain communication through poetry that is so different than reading a book.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
different. And it's like I study poems. I study like I read them through and then I read them again and then I go through each line and like the line here about the horse like stopping and jingling his bells like, well, hey, what's up?
You know,
And that
right.
reminds me so much of Rosie. Like if I stop and look at a tree or a bird or something, and she's like, "Hey, we're
Hey,
walking here. Let's get going.
we got something to do here.
What's up? Why'd you stop, Mom? Doing your watching everything in motion, thing that I do. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Or the woods are lovely, dark and deep,
yeah.
right?
And it's on Solstice Eve too, because the darkest evening of the year. So there's all these things
Right.
that he's telling us, but you have to
Right.
dig in there and figure it out.
Right. But I have promises to keep and
Yeah.
miles to go before I sleep.
Dang work.
Oh, So it kind of reminds me of Santa Claus in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
And miles to go. But it's like you got that thing you got to keep doing. We can't stop and stay still because we got to keep working and we got
Got
to
to keep moving.
going. Miles to go. Yep.
Or how he talks about the woods. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. So it's a plot of land that belongs to a person that lives in town.
Right. Right.
He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
And there won't be
Yeah.
any footprints left either.
No. But how can you have poems about winter and not include Robert Frost? I mean, even by his name, right?
Yeah. It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed you and I have never chosen the same
No, we
poem?
haven't.
We've done we've done, this is the second time we've done a poetry show
Yeah,
about nature,
yeah.
and we've never chosen the same poem that we have to say, oh, I got that one. No. Huh.
Well, I do have one more I found.
Okay.
Our time. I'll pull her up. Oh, wait, we did that one. Right? No.
I
No.
No.
No, I didn't. Yeah, no, this is the one I wanted to do. Okay, and a single on it. Okay.
There we go.
This is from Ogden Nash. Winter is the king of showmen, turning tree stumps into snowmen, and houses into birthday cakes, and spreading sugar over lakes. Smooth and clean and frosty white, the world looks good enough to bite. That's the season to be young, catching snowflakes on your tongue. Snow is snowy when it's snowing. I'm sorry it's slushy when it's going. I know, I thought that was funny.
I like that one, especially, how many of us, whether you're young or old, right, is when it starts to snow that we try to catch a snowflake with our tongue,
Yeah. Or how excited you get for that first snowfall. Like, I remember, as a child, we were so excited and we wanted enough to fall so we could go sledding and, do something with it. But it was so exciting. You come home, Mom, it snowed today at the playground or whatever. So, I remember one time I was at Girl Scouts after school and we all ran outside of the building because it was snowing for the first time and we were so excited.
So excited.
Have that memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still really, okay, so I live in Wisconsin, for those of you who might not know. And so a lot of people think that we get a lot of snow here and that it's very, really cold. Well, it is. And like this morning it was like -4. That's cold.
Whoa. God, I thought 16 was bad.
But our snowfalls have not been very measurable in probably the last 5 or 6 years. And so to actually have a really big snow, like a big snowstorm where we're going to be getting more than just a couple inches, I get excited about it. It's like, hey, it's going to snow. And we have the most snow we've had so far is probably been 4 inches.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, in Michigan, we would call that, when you got like a significant snow, we're getting dumped on tonight. It's like the dump truck came on the driveway.
Yeah, well, you guys had that lake effect snow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's, winter. When you grow up in a northern climate state, you perceive or you feel winter much differently than somebody who lives in other parts of the country, right? And so I certainly have many more winter clothes than I do summer clothes. Right? Because it's longer. It's a longer season than it is for summer. But what I love most about winter is that quietness in the snowfall. That's me. Yeah.
It's been different here, totally different winter here in Colorado. I am embracing something. Some things they're like, man, they don't know how to do this right. They need to, like snow removal. They don't understand good snow removal or ice because everything wasn't cleared off early enough, and now it's ice, and now we have these like ice bumps on the main driveway, like in the road, not just on the sidewalks, and on the highway. Even when we drove for Thanksgiving, there were these ice bumps on the highway. I'm like, snowplow and some salt would have taken care of that in Michigan, but they don't salt. They don't use any chemicals. They don't use sand here. So it's in, so I'm out
Mhm.
putting, my safe for the garden and animals salt chemical on our walkway and down the neighbor, down where everyone has to walk, because it's ice skating rink. And if I had ice skates, I could have walked the dog with ice skates instead. But yeah, they just, but I'd love, and I've said this so many times, but the sunshine is incredible. The winter with sun, and it's it's a rare day when it's cloudy. Like maybe one day a week it's cloudy, and every other day you wake up. I mean, it's gorgeous sun streaming in my office right now. The other thing is it gets dark faster here because we're near the mountains. 4:30 it's dark, and I used to think in Michigan like 5 o'clock, 5:30. Man, I remember I got out of work at 6, and it was always dark, and I didn't like that. But 4:30 now, the day is done. So it's kind of interesting there. So I get the sun, but then it's gone.
Well, it's the cloudy stuff. I get that. I mean, we'll go probably stretches with it being cloudy day after day after day after day. And so when it does get sunny here and it's blue sky against the white snow, it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
Gorgeous, right? I was just looking at one of Anne's comments here. She says, "Sounds delicious." Of the poem that you just read, the last one.
Yeah,
because it did. It sounded like he was describing maybe Christmas cookies or
food. Yes.
food.
Oh, Deborah Clark Clemens joined us. I'm going to put her.
Hey, Deborah.
She says, "I love snow. I prefer to stay home and not drive." Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the best snow day, right? When you don't have to go anywhere.
right. I think the older we get, that certainly is more of a sentiment. It's like I'd rather not drive in it, because I can remember being younger, even in our 30s. We were living in Poynette, a little town just north of Madison, and it was snowing, 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 and things were closing and that kind of thing. And Paul and I wanted to get a new computer, and so he says, "Let's go to Portage."
Yeah.
So we had his pickup truck, the 4-wheel drive, and good tires on it, and we went. And stores there weren't that many people in the stores at all. Really good
They
customers.
were open though. That's good.
But if would we do that today? No.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Right. Some of the crazy things that we would do. Yeah. We're a little smarter. Like, if you don't have to go out in it, don't go out in it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. And my husband loves to do snow removal. He loves plowing. He loves using the snow blowers. He loves shoveling. Loves it.
And Rain doesn't get to shovel anymore. He used to shovel our driveway when we lived in Logham. It was maybe almost a quarter mile long. He would shovel by hand. He had a snow scoop from the UP, and he used it for his workout. He shoveled snow. It was a great workout.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we moved to Lyons and our driveway was a little bit shorter, it still was pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
He would still do it by hand. And now he's got, 6 feet from our door to the sidewalk. But of course he's out there shoveling before the crew that's been paid to shovel, at least, to our car. Yeah, he's it's not the same. He says he can't use it as a workout anymore.
Oh, gosh. But we are coming up on winter solstice.
Yes.
How many people in the live chat have been to winter solstice ceremonies where it's been so cold? I remember one time winter solstice here that I did a ceremony for, and we had
Didn't you do a recording of that? Or I feel like I was on the computer listening or something.
Yeah, we did
before live streaming.
The audio. No, it was before live streaming.
I know. It was.
We did an audio though of it, and and it had snowed that day so much that it covered up the stones on the medicine wheel.
Oh my goodness.
And so Paul was out there, came home from work early, and did some shoveling and snow removal around the medicine wheel and a path. And then the detached garage, he put a heater in there to warm it up so that we would have a place to go to get warm. And then he brought out the pumpers with hot water for tea, and I think we had apple cider or something like that. So he did all that background work and had the fire go on and all of it. He had the time of his life doing all of that support work, but it was cold. And I mean, at least winter or Wisconsin people, we know how to dress for winter.
Right.
We have the clothes and the boots
Right.
to wear, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That was the last one that had a lot of snow.
In Michigan, when I lived in Lyons, we always went to the Stone Circle for sunrise. And I spent many a solstice sunrise there with friends, and we would light candles, and we would bring sparklers, and we would be celebrating that sunrise. And sometimes it was really cold, sometimes it was freezing rain. But I was there for everyone. Sometimes other people didn't come because it was just too bad. But I was only 5 minutes away, so I could get there still.
Yeah.
And
I was just thinking that was 2012. That was December 2012. That last.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. 2012.
2012.
Wow. So this solstice, I am traveling. Well, I'm just getting into Michigan. You know, it'll be the solstice eve. I'll be traveling. So I don't know. You know, I was just. Was it you or probably Joe was talking about the solstice energies here for like 3 months. So you have 3 months to do ceremony if you want. You know, she was talking about that on her show this week. So I'm seeing where I'll figure out when I'm going to do my ceremony, but hopefully it will be, you know, I can find some time. I'm thinking when I'm at my in-laws, they have a really beautiful river near their condo, and maybe I can sneak down there and do my own little, maybe a tobacco giving ceremony. I was thinking, Neshi, that came to mind this morning. Yeah. You know, what can I do that would be really honoring and connecting for me, yet easy and quick, and I wouldn't have to be gone all day, you know, because I can just sneak away, because the rest of the family isn't into celebrating solstice, so they won't even be knowing what I'm doing.
I mean, even if, you know, because we know a lot of people who live, you know, inner city, to get to a park would be even a difficult thing, right?
Yeah.
And so how many times have we talked about just even lighting a candle? Right. It doesn't have to be a huge ceremony. It can be you and the candle. And the size of the candle doesn't matter. The color of the candle doesn't matter.
It can be a little tea light. Yeah. It's what you bring to that ceremony, what intention that you bring to it, and setting your intentions for the new year, like we just did on your show before this one, Neshi, too. Yeah. That was wonderful to state the intention and then go into that emotion and that energy of what it feels like. I loved that. That was really
I get to talk about, you know, stuff that I get all jazzed about, and that is, you know, is feeling your emotions. And when you're manifesting, that those two things have to go together for it to come into the physical world. And so here we are talking about starting a brand new decade.
Right. I also love what you said, but you have to do a physical act. I mean, you can't just speak those words, feel that emotion, say, okay, universe, bring it on. You know, I mean, sometimes
you still have to ground it to the earth plane.
Yeah, ground it to the earth plane. You got to make one step forward in your physical body, at least toward that goal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved what you said about, you know, you were saying that you really wanted to build a strong community, right?
Yes.
Connected community where you live now.
Right.
And also to have forest therapy, you know.
To have lots of forest therapy enthusiasts, you know, and followers and people that really want to, you know, go on my blocks. I've had a couple people that have found me on the website and Oh, you live in Loveland. How cool,
Yeah,
when's your next walk? So I do think I'm planning a winter walk in February,
yeah.
and we'll probably read some of these poems. We read a
Oh,
lot of
oh,
poems. Yeah.
here's an idea. I know we're coming up on the hour, but
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
if you do it on February,
Uh-huh.
when you're taking a look at your calendar and when to best do this. Now, I'm going to bring up my calendar and see. Um, there is a special date in February that a lot of people don't realize about, and
Yeah.
that is February 19th,
Okay.
which is on a Wednesday, but
Uh-huh.
you could use the energy of it 3 days before or 3 days after, right?
Okay.
Um, and February 19th is the in between the winter solstice and the spring equinox.
Oh,
And so it's kind of that
it's across eighth day. It's not across
so,
quarter. It's across
yeah,
eighth. Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Oh,
It's
wow.
the cross of the cross. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So you can kind of check in to see how things are going with your intentions. At that
Uh-huh.
time, you can do another round of ceremony around what you're trying to bring in.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Neshi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe on the weekend before, the weekend after.
Hmm.
Love that date. Would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And here, you just got to have faith that the weather's going to be okay on that day. Winter walks are always like that. I tune into all the nature spirits and ask for their help. And, hey, if you can just make it a sunny day, that's all I need. Sunny. Because
Hmm.
usually if you ask for sunny, that means it's not raining and
Hmm.
it's not snowing because
Yeah.
it's sunny. And if you ask for warm and sunny, you can even go farther. But I've learned to just ask for sun, and I usually get a nice day.
Maybe in one of our upcoming shows, I think that
Hmm.
might be a good topic to talk about is our relationship to the nature spirit, the weather.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
weather communication. Well, it's requests. Yeah, how to make a
Mhm.
weather request. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one tip I'll tell you right now is the further ahead in time that you can give the request, the more likely you will get assistance. If you're asking for tomorrow,
Not the last minute stuff.
no last minute. No, they're really like that long term commitment. I found. Well, we have just a few minutes left, Neshi. So last sharings.
Last sharings.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple things here at Star Nations that I'd like to share about.
Mhm. Yes.
I just last Sunday, I think it was Sunday, we finally finished up bringing together all of the pieces for the next sacred drumming workshop in Michigan.
Ooh, where's it at?
June 20th in Hastings or near Hastings, Michigan.
Yes.
Lori DeDecker, I don't know if you remember Lori.
Yes, I do. Perfect.
She contacted me and asked me if I would be able to come to her new healing center.
Oh, that'll be
Uh,
wonderful. Oh,
yeah. So that's June 20th. Yay!
oh,
And
good.
we're pulling together the details. I'll be going out to the East Coast in May, the end of May, the weekend of May 30th,
Mm.
1st.
Mhm.
For Star Nations, we have 3 show hosts that live out there. They're also contributing writers to the magazine. And so
Mhm.
we're going to pull together a Star Nations weekend out
Ooh,
there.
that sounds like
The end of,
fun.
I know. So we got to finish up the details on that one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit in a drum making there. They really want me to. So we'll see
Mhm.
if we can get that done. Yeah, and I'm trying to think of tonight's show coming up.
Yes.
Polly
Mhm.
Joe in
Yep. Couple hours.
Soul Connections, and it's a night of healing. And if you like mini card draw information readings,
Mm,
that's the night to do it. That's for sure.
she's good. She is good. Yeah.
So, and one more
Yes.
Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at the Star Nations Academy private group, the closed group here at Facebook,
Mhm.
is our monthly free mini class. And you'll be with me. We're going to be talking about our gifts in 2020. So it's actually more of a Q&A
Oh,
than
good.
it is a class. So
Yeah, I'll be on the road that day. So I have a trip to Scotland coming up in 2020. Pretty excited. Neshi's coming along. So if you want to come travel with us, I still have some spots available. The trip is to Scotland and a lot of the outer islands of Scotland in September 14th through the 26th. And there's lots of information on my website, which I should probably type into the chat room, right? Is that what the producer does?
Well, I can do it for you. Let's see.
Okay, thank you.
I think I can. I have to do it on my phone. It's minicansman.com, right?
Yes, just minicansman.com.
Okay.
And there's the whole itinerary there, descriptions of each of the days. We're going to a lot of beautiful standing stone sites, lots of sacred sites, doing some nature and forest therapy, some beautiful waterfalls. I can't wait. I'm so excited. We are going to a special gardening community called Findhorn, which works completely with nature spirits and elementals in growing everything that they do. And that's a lifelong dream of someplace I've wanted to visit. So really happy to take
How many books have you read about Findhorn?
Oh, probably 5. Yeah, at least. And it's time to read them again, especially when you know you're going. One of the things I had read about this Huji, this Scandinavian piece about winter and getting all bundled up and cozy, is they plan a trip and then they think about in the winter is when they dream about the trip that they're doing in the summer, or in this case, the fall. So, and that, dreaming and scheming for a trip can be as much fun as actually being on the trip. So,
yeah.
Let's do some Scotland research and have some fun this winter.
Yeah. We'll do a little daydreaming around it too.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for being with us and being here for my first produce show. I almost have one in the can. Okay. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the archives and being here with us. And thanks for Deborah and Anne for being in the chat room today with us as well.
Yeah. And thanks for producing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was fun. Yeah. It's really fun. Yeah. All right.
We'll see you all next month for Nature Adventures and the January show. Hang on. I'm going to give you the date. That would be the 4th Wednesday, which is the 29th of January.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. See you then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.